Hello, everyone. Welcome to round 6 of 14, the PRL Brazilian Grand Prix here in Tier 1 on the Sunday League. 15 points separates the top three in the standings. Furzy at the top hasn't finished below second place, but had an unfortunate DNF in round 1, which is keeping the championship quite close. But Mr. Bean will be looking to chase him down, trailing only by 10 points. And in third place, newly full-time Sauber driver Gibby, who's getting the most out of that Sauber, has podiumed 3 times in the last 5 in the first 5 races. We're getting ready up for the short qualifying session. 17 minutes for the drivers to put down their best lap time. It's actually 18 minutes, not 17. As we go around the circuit, which provides us with 15 corners at over 4.3 kilometers of action. I'm Corey Anayat, and it is a dreary Sunday here in the northeastern United States, and that is a pattern that's pretty much spread all across the country. A lot of snow, a lot of gloominess, but luckily in this virtual world of the Brazilian Grand Prix, we are expecting a dry race, which is fortunate compared to last week. We had a lot of rain throughout the entirety of the race, which mixed up the grid a bit. But in the end, everything seemed to stay suit as Mr. Bean walked away with the win in the Dutch Grand Prix. We are getting ready to get the okay to ready up. You do need authorization from the race director to ready up to enter into qualifying and to enter into the race from the grid. But it looks like it's going to be a full grid. Got some reserves filling in today so far. We have, if you give me just a quick moment here. I can't see who's filling in for reserves. I forgot what channel they put that in. However, should be an exciting race. Brazil always provides a lot of action. It's a short circuit, but it is a circuit where you can pretty much overtake in several different points of the track. We got everyone filling in. We do have Furzy, our championship leader, in his Aston Martin. Same thing with Jay Story, his rear gunner. Don't see Mr. Bean is there. He's the second place driver. Gibby, newly full-time in the Kick Sauber. So who we have filling in for reserves is Mr. Ewoot XD. I guess I'll call him Ewoot for the remainder of the afternoon. The Belgian will be driving for the Scuderia Ferrari, and he flaunts that A license, as do I. And then for Haas, we have Kobe Plies, and he is not in the lobby yet, so we'll see how that shapes up. Ruin Rogue, who I thought was commentating with me because he hopped into the chat, he will be driving the Haas, and he's looking to rebound from an abysmal wet Dutch Grand Prix. He did DNF after finishing last. I think he DNF'd. I actually don't remember. He didn't. He just finished 3 laps behind. Oh well. Oh, let's see who else is popping into this lobby. Adri K, the pole sitter from last week, he is back in his Alpine, hoping to match his qualifying magic from Tier 1 on last week, as we are getting ready to ready up here in Brazil. We'll take you through a hot lap once everyone gets ready, walk you through the track. like so many tracks, the setup's going to be key. If you can handle it, doing the low rear wing here can benefit you, because there are a lot of there is a really long start finish straight. There is a long straight after turn 3. So if you just put that front wing down, personally, I run a 15.6 here. It makes the car very loose, but it takes off in the straights. And that turn 4 right after the first DRS straight, you can get a lot of speed there. Take it as wide as you can, and if you do low wings, you can find a lot of time. But it does make turns such as 6 and 7, that high speed where you just lift off just a little bit. It does make a low downforce setup like that harder to contain. Well, qualifying is underway. Let's take a look and see when people choose to go out. The track will amp up after a while, but I am sure a lot of these people will probably be getting out early to get a banker lap in as quick as possible. It being a short track, you can get multiple quality runs in there, because your out lap isn't going to be as long as a track like Spa, like a track like Vegas or Azerbaijan. So that will be beneficial for our drivers. But most drivers picking a balanced or harder tire allotment will only have 3 soft tires to choose from. So you may see one of those runs on a pair of used softs, unless they do a softer tire allocation, which is risky because the softs tend to die out here. And if you run into a turn 1 incident where you got to switch your tires in your wing, your hards will be tough to manage for that distance, and you'd have to switch to another pair of softs or another pair of mediums. Drivers are all heading out to the track now as I get set up. Lap data, boom, boom. Oh, there we go. It looks like Rusty Oil Can will lead the pack here as they start to warm up their tires, get into optimal temperature window. 75 degrees is what SRC has as your ideal starting tire temp. As we look on with Mr. Rusty Oil Can, the host of this race. Hopefully his internet connection is strong. But yeah, short lap, harder to get those tires up to temperature. However, those conditions are matched for everyone here. Well, as Rusty Oil Can starts to get onto the start-finish rate, we will go along with him, and this is the point of the track where you're going to switch into a medium power deployment, and right about now he'll hit the DRS. He's going to get into the overtake mode or the hot lap mode. Most people hit overtake, some people go into hot lap, and that first turn is crucial. Hard braking zone, get as much as that curb as you want to get a good exit onto turn 2, onto that curbing, and then you want to set yourself up for a great exit onto the start and finish straight heading down to turn 4, and that's when you get into the medium speed braking zone. Quick stomp on the brakes down to 4th gear, getting on to 5th at the exit. He didn't, but that's usually what you do. And then you have this tricky long double left-hander into turn 6 and 7. Coast off the throttle a little bit, get into 6, and you get into a big braking zone here. Want to be sure not to overheat the tires because they are scorching hot after the previous corner. And then you're into the slow sector of turns. Be very patient on the throttle. Be very patient onto the braking, and you'll get down into turn 3, hit that curb, and then you're into your penultimate set of corners here. Run through the gears. 6 is usually where you'll take this final corner. Leave it into 4th, drain the battery, hit the DRS, and you're in for a good lap. And let's see where Rusty Oil Can will be slated for as he gets past the pit straight. 109.2. That is that's a decent lap. It definitely can be ramped up. Ruin Rogue back in gets a 110 in, and Joe Biodome, he was in the mix for the race yesterday, puts in a scorcher, a 1 minute 7 8.8. So Biodome coming out hot. Mr. Bean, the winner from last week, he puts in a decent lap, 1:08.1. Let's see who else is coming onto a hot lap. Rimsey, who I don't believe was here last week. He wasn't. He is right now in the middle of a flyer, coming down into the tricky set of turns into turn 9. Let's see what he's slated to do. This one's actually going to look like it's going to be decent. I don't think it's going to be decent enough to get pole. It's not a 1:08.9, so that's an all right for a banker of a lap. There is going to be track evolution here, which has me very curious about what Joe Biodome, who put in a really impressive 1:07.8. Oh, someone's in the grass. That looks like it is. I don't know if he went into the grass at his own volition or if he was just letting people pass through. I bet he was letting people pass through. Adri K, yesterday's pulse hitter, is coming on, starting a flyer. Let's see what he can do here. Kind of drained the battery quite a bit going into the lap, but he keeps it in a medium a lot. There's two schools of thought when it comes to ERS management. You have a lot of drivers who keep it in a hot lap and then will use the overtake button a lot less, and then some drivers like myself, and as we see here, Adri K, who will keep it in medium and use that overtake a lot more where they need it. As he takes turn 9 quite well. You want to get a little more on the curb, but honestly, I'm sure Adrian K is faster at this game than I am, and he is putting in a decent sector time for sector 2. He kind of has a snap of oversteer there coming into the start-finish straight into turns 13, 14, 15, which aren't really turns. It's all part of the same straight. And let's see where he lands up. 1:08.5, and there's definitely time that he can find there. It's Furzy, our championship leader, just put up a 1:07.8. Only about, what is that? That's, my math's not mathing at the moment, but about 7,000th off the leader, Joe Biodome. We're in for a decent race here. Morris JDM also has the third fastest lap, a 1:08.0. So let's see how the rest of qualifying plays out. 11 minutes left. Everyone's diving into the pits and getting ready for their next set of laps, getting new tires on, getting that optimal fuel. You don't need much fuel here in a short track like this. Joe Biodome here is heading to his out laps. Got some traffic in front of him because it looks like... Who's in front of him? Looking like Furzy's coming in on his outlap ahead of him. Same thing with Audrey K, I believe that is. And we're going to hop on board with Joe Biodome here as he starts his flyer. Switches the ERS mode, hits the overtake button, and gets really wide. Very crucial for the first turn. Slams on the brakes, gets a good entry into turn 1, going into turn 2. Great entry into turn 2. Masterclass so far as he gets through this first set of corners, hits the DRS, and now he's just opening up the car, hitting the overtake button, getting ready for the medium speed turn number 4 rather. And looks like he aborted the lap. Probably had a moment, saw something he didn't like there. There's 10 minutes left if he's going to try to keep up with Stampede Boss, who now has taken pole position there. I would love to be on camera with one of these people that's going to take pole. It keeps happening after the fact, but that's okay. Maybe Joe Biodome can help me out because it looks like he's starting either another flyer or he's going to dive into the pits to get a fresh set of rubber on. If I'm him, I'm probably just going to I would continue on if I was here. There's plenty of time here, and he is going to, as he switches back to medium, hits the overtake button, gets nice and wide again. Comes in, misses the curbing on turn 1, compromises himself in turn 2. Hits the overtake button there, has traffic in front of him. Could be problematic, could be beneficial, but that V-carb will get out of the way. Let's see here what Joe has to say, and he's just going to dive into the pits. Don't blame him. The entry into the first set of corners really wasn't. Yeah, he was 3 seconds up. Definitely wasn't the ideal lap that he was trying to get here. Mr. Bean dives into the pits, and Furzy going to start be on his outlap here. Furzy, our championship leader, by 10 points. While I have you guys, don't forget to follow the PRL on Twitch for more high stakes commentary by yours truly, Coria Knight, Uno Cinco, also on Twitch. I'm not really a content creator. I just use that in case people try to submit race incidents 2 days after the race. Looking at you, Eco Alex. All right, let's see what we have cooking here for Furzy. Furzy started from 3rd, I believe, at the Dutch Grand Prix, and he's going to switch it to medium, hit the DRS, gonna hit the overtake button, shift to 8th, get himself really wide for the first corner. Let's see how he hits it. Beautiful, hits that inside curb there, inside curb into turn 2, gets ready for the first DRS straight, hitting the ERS button, hitting the DRS button, flying down 200 miles an hour, whatever that is in kilometers, I don't know. Great entrance into turn 4. Beautiful masterclass first sector for Furzy here, and it looks like he doesn't think so because he is abandoned the lap. Something wasn't cooking there for Furzy there, which is fine. Didn't seem to have a hint of oversteer coming out of turn 4. Let's see what Sampas has to say as he is starting his flyer coming into turn 4. Beautiful entrance into there. Hits that slow turn 9, then rockets off into turn 10 and 11. Keeping it really tight but flat out. Shift down to 4th. You carry the most speed into 4th, but you get better rotation if you take that last corner in turn 3. And this is gonna be a flyer. Let's see what he does. Can he create a little bit of breathing room for his already lightning fast pole lap? And he can. 34 hundredths of a second for Stamp Boss. Now let's click onto Furzy. Furzy doesn't look like he is abandoning this lap. Yes, he is. Yeah, he's 1.3 seconds up. Joe Biodome still in the hunt for pole position. Let's see what he has to say. 2/10 up. This actually might be good. We might have a new pole sitter here. Draining that battery, hitting the ERS, DRS. Oh, that's good. That's good. I knew it. Oh! Gets pulled by 3/100ths of a second. It's going to be close. I'm curious how Furs is going to answer here. 4 minutes, 20 seconds. You need to allow yourself about 2 minutes to get onto a flying lap here. We have 4 minutes left, so we are going to be in a slight of a malaise here. Morris JRM is on looks like it's an in-lap, so there's nothing much going on there. A lot of in-laps here. Let's see what Nico John's up to. He's actually on a flyer. However, he is a tenths up on his previous lap, so he's probably going to dive into the pits and give it one more college try. But Iwutu, the reserve from Belgium. Let's see what he does. He's going to dive into the pits. Tim Graw, he's on he is coming into the pits, it looks like. Yup. And looks like everyone's heading into the pits. Rusty Oil Can, the 109.2, I believe, is that initial lap he set when we first hopped on here. Still a 10th up. Bertie has started his outlap. We'll catch on with him as he makes it to the start-finish line. It is looking like he is at turn... Looks like he's just ahead of us here on track. Right there, you can see in turn 10, Rusty Olcan took that corner fourth. Carrying a lot of speed, but not so much rotation. Let's see what it does for him as he goes on to the start-finish straight. Is he going to improve? It's looking like he's going to dive into the pits. Did not like how it was looking. He would have rather just called that one wash. Heading on to Furzy. Rusty Olcan also retired from the session. Furzy coming down to turn 4 on the DRS straight. He has none. Looks like he's doing a double flyer. Double outlap, rather. Hard to see how much time is left in the session with everyone slowing down. It's triggering a caution here. So we got Furzy starting a flying lap. Gibby very close behind him. They're right now third and fourth respectively. Your pole sitter, your provisional pole sitter, Joe Biodome, is on his outlap. Same with Stamp Boss. Let's click on to Furzy, see what he's going to do here. Looks like he's starting his flyer. Hits the overtake button. Comes out nice and wide right to that right side of the track to get into turn 1, and you want to hug that apex like your favorite granny here. Coming in, beautiful exit into turn 2. Coming down, exit turn 3. Rockets down the DRS straight. Hits the ERS button. 4/1000s up from his previous lap. First, he definitely has to find time here if he wants to improve up on the provisional pole standings. Now, him having a lighter fuel load than he had in his first run. Let's see if that delta improves. It does, not by much. 4,400s up. It's going to have some work to do here in the start-finish straight in order to try to find some more time. Gets a slipstream from the car ahead of him. Thank you, Mr. RB. And let's see where he goes. Doesn't improve by much, and will start at third at the best. Stampede Bot just put down a 1.75. Beautiful lap him. He stays in pole position. Let's see how Joe Biodome reacts. He's coming to the start-finish straight. Is he going to do it? Does he have enough time? He's using all that ERS. He's draining that battery. Can he get pole? Yes, he can! Gets him by 2/10. Dethrones Stampy Boss by 2/10 of a second. Beautiful final flying lap from Joe Biodome. Here comes Gibby. He is got some traffic in front of him. Uh-oh. That's not good. His best time's a 107.8. He needs to improve. He's going to use the slipstream, but hopefully that Williams or Alpine won't get in the way of it. He actually just finished his lap, but he also improved as well to a 107.8. An exciting end to qualifying here at the PRL Brazilian Grand Prix. We have Joe Biodome, followed by Stampy Boss, followed by Furzy. The top three separated by 0.3 of a second. The top four separated by 0.5. It's going to be exciting turn one here, so stay tuned. We have cars finishing up laps here. I don't know. Everyone's done in the laps or done during the pit straight. For time's sake, if you are coming in, it's quicker just to cross the start finish line. That's what everyone seems to be doing, and looks like we are good to start the PRL Brazilian Grand Prix. Very exciting qualifying. Joe Biodome will take pole position. Stampede Boss will be next to him as 2/10 separate them. Furzy and Gibby are behind them. In the second row, Morris JP and Mr. Bean will be in the third row. Rimsey and Audrey K will be 7th and 8th. J Story, Gourd Sauce, 9th and 10th. Tim Gra, Rossi Games, 11th and 12th. Ghost Viper, Nico John, Ewote, Justin K, Rusty Oil Can, Craig, 4444, done, and Runnin' Rogue and Tar Heels will form the rest of the grid. Stay with us as we start the PRL Brazilian Grand Prix. We are back here. So, for a lot of people who may not be familiar, and actually some drivers aren't all that familiar with this rule, but now we are adjusting our setups to be more race. We are in Parc Ferme, so there isn't much you can change, but right now we are adjusting our tire pressures, our front wing, our brake biases, our differentials. Race director will give the drivers a couple of minutes here to get all that adjusted, and we will get the ready to go from Gourd Sauce, who will commence the race sequence to start. Personally, when you wonder, oh, well, what adjustments do they make? Personally, I always put the front wing down by 2 or 3 clicks. I usually will take my rear tire pressures, increase them, my front tire pressures, decrease them. Why? I don't know. That's what SRC tells me to do, but I'm trash. So take that for what it's worth. Then we'll commence to the formation lap where we'll be trying to get our tires up to temperature. Very hard to do because there's a balance between getting the tires warm, but if you're starting on the mediums or maybe even the softs, you don't want to have that unnecessary tire wear just on a formation lap. However, if your tires are too cool, you get a bad start and a bad sequence of corners going into turn 1, turn 2. You get hit with understeer. A chance that understeer creates an incident, creates a safety car. I don't have a mute button readily available, so pardon my coughing. It is winter here in New England. New Hampshire is where I am broadcasting from. Now, one thing that people may not realize that I didn't realize is the point system here is different from what you'd see from typical Formula One. If you finish, you score points. It goes 1 through 10 points from 20th to 11th. Then 10th through 4th increases by 2 points. So in 10th, you get 11th, 9th, you get 13, 8th, you get 15, and so on. Third place gets 26, second place gets 29th, and first place gets 36th. Standings have been very important, whether it comes from this series or real life Formula One, where Max Verstappen's now within a race of taking the championship as they go into Abu Dhabi. But this isn't Formula One. This is the Performance Racing League, and I'm happy to have you. We are waiting to see if we get the all ready to go command. We have, and we're going to start the formation lap. Another thing during that period that the drivers will adjust is their pit strategy. Now, SRC has the ideal strategy to be a one-stopper, medium to hard. Lap 14 is the ideal pit lap, but you can pit anywhere from lap 11 to 17. Plan B would be to start on the hards, which you may see people more in the back of the grid do. And at that point, you'd pit at lap 22 and 19 through 25. From there, if you want to do a two-stop, it depends what allocation you pick. I tend to go with harder allocations because I tend to get into lap 1 incidents, which require me to change my wing. Therefore, I'd go medium, hard, hard. But if people chose a balance setup, they go medium, medium, hard, hard, medium, medium. And if there is a late safety car, you may see people switch to the softs as we are following along with Joe Biodome, who is quite separated from the field. Now, the longer you are on the grid, the cooler your tires get. So it's something to keep in mind. That's why you usually will see at the last corner, ignore the possible race strategies. The game doesn't know what it's talking about. But you will see, the drivers start to slow up, but Joe Bidome's ready to go. He's ready to line that Red Bull up onto the grid slot. Try to get as close as you can without going too much, and I'm willing to bet that was a green for Joe Biodome. And Stampede Boss will line up behind him. Furzy, Gibby, that top four is going to be exciting to watch. Stay tuned here as everyone else comes up to the grid. So far, no one has exceeded that track limit, which shows up as disqualification here. Got me really excited. Looks like Jay Story, Furzy's teammate, got passed on the formation lap. And everyone is coming up. So, we are ready to start here in the Brazilian Grand Prix. And here come the lights. The lights are out, the clutch is dropped, and the PRL Brazilian Grand Prix is underway as they all get off well. Joe Biodome gets a brilliant start, and he'll make it into turn 1 cleanly. And Furzy and Stampede Boss is side by side. Stampede Boss holds his position in front of Furzy, but Gibby, who is a full-time driver this week, will be right on Furzy's gearbox, and they all get in. But except for one driver, Ronan Roll got into a little bit of an incident there coming out of turn 3. Looks like he has lost a wing plate, and he may have to box because downforce is going to be crucial on the front wing to make these corners. Bad start for Ronan Rogue. Jay Story lost a couple positions, and there is a yellow flag out in sector 2. I don't know who that's caused by. All in all, a pretty good start, especially at the front, and now we are going to go racing. Bit of a battle piling on with the midfield runners here. And as this first lap finishes up, Joe Biden puts out a banger, 1:14.5, which is a decent lap. See what's going on here. Nothing doing. Tar Heels just overtook Rusty Oil Can for P16. Once again, everyone gets points, so points are crucial. Board Sauce and Tim Gra, teammates, they have swapped places. Don't know if that was intentionally or by design, or if that was just a pure overtake, as Rossi Games loses a position to Ghost Viper. Furzy, Joe Bidome, and Stampede Boss, they are less than a half second off each other, so let's see how it goes here as they enter into turn 10. Nice slow turn before you get into the fast sets of turns as they enter into turn 11. Cool. Beautiful racing here. Now, Tire conservation. A lot of these front runners are going to try to do a one-stop here just to, you know, not have an unnecessary 20 seconds in the pit lane. It is a bit of a longer pit lane here. Rimsey just overtook Tim Groff for P7. And we have another yellow flag, and let's see who it is. Is it someone retiring? Yes, Audrey K, last week's pole sitter, will call it quits here. After turn 2. Didn't see if anything happened to him, but it looks like he is going to take the helmet off, take the gloves off, and watch with the rest of us. Still a brilliant top 4 as Joe Biodome, Stampy Boss, and Gibby head into turn 10. Percy as well, part of that pack. Ruin Row got a 3-second penalty. Struggles for him continue. And looks like we have Morris JPM. He is dropping down the order. Something happened with him. He had a moment. He looks like he's going to get on the throttle and back underway as before Rusty Oil Can catches him. Only 1.2 seconds separate them. Craig Dunn is having a masterclass race so far. He's actually up 10 positions. He was showing a lot of pace in the Dutch Grand Prix. We have another yellow flag out. That's still Audrey K. Apologies. Very, very curious about Mr. Bean choosing to go with hards, looking to go on the long run. There hasn't been a safety car, and as the race settled down, the likelihood of a safety car, this is a standard safety car league, I believe. I'd have to take a look at the settings, but going long, maybe a late safety car will help him, but he will be the provisional race leader should he hold off Rimsey, who is very fast in for that Scarlet Ferrari. Joe Bidome increasing that lead now. 7/10 is what we're up to. Stampy Boss trying to keep up with him, but Percy's also catching him as he hits DRS. Coming into that first turn, getting it nice and tidy. So Mr. Bean now is in 6th place as Ramsey overtakes him. However, he is on the hards, and we are now getting into that area of the race where the hards will start to fire up, and the crossover between the hards and mediums will be starting to make the hards a little faster. So curious to see how that plays out. Going back to the top of the lineup here. Stampy Boss and Joe Bidome, who exchanged such big blows in that qualifying lap, putting up lightning fast times, are now coming into the penultimate corner of the race. All still within DRS of each other. A little DRS train forming. However, Furzy is losing Stampy Boss up ahead as Gibby follows him close behind. Oh, looks like Mr. Bean and Ramsey are exchanging blows. Let's take a look at them. Looks like he got him on the DRS straight, which will give Rimsey DRS coming out of turn 3 into turn 4. He's got a lot of battery left. He's got the DRS. He's going to hit it. Looks like Mr. Bean's not going to fight too hard, and Rimsey retakes P5. Rimsey is going to have a project keeping those mediums healthy. Pit window is for a one-stop race is going to be lap 11, just about. That's when the window will open, at least. Lap 14 is the ideal lap. Undercut, not so powerful here just because of how short the track is. However, fresh rubber over one lap still would give quite the advantage. So, looks like Rimsey will stay ahead. Let's see how this next DRS straight will play out. He is only 3/10 off. He has plenty of battery left. He's going to hit the DRS. Let's see what it does for him. He's got pace. He comes on the inside, and he clears Rimsey again, exchanging blows between P5 and P6. He does have a lot more battery than he did before, so let's see if he can stay ahead coming into the second DRS straight as they come through turns 2 and 3, and he has a nice gap for him of 6/10. Mr. Bean's going to hit the ERS, and he will stay clear of him as he gets now 8/10 ahead, as once again the crossover of those hearts has now fallen into Mr. Bean's favor, and Rimsey will just trail behind. But that battle is far from over, I'm sure. Pop back to the top of the list. Furzy struggling to keep in DRS range on Stampy Boss. Gibby almost out of DRS range from Furzy, but Stampy Boss and Joe Biodome are still on top of each other. It is shaping up to be a great battle between those at top. Let's take a look. We are on board with Stampy Boss as they come into the start-finish straight. He has quite a bit of battery. He has some ERS. Joe Biodome's going to try to drain his battery as well. Let's see what happens once the DRS is hit. The overtake button's hit. Is he going to have enough? I don't think so. I don't think so. He's going to maybe make a lunge. He can't. You got to be careful. But Joe Biodome locks up a little bit. Stampy Boss is going to get a little closer as they come into the second DRS straight. The battery's emptying again for him. He hits the DRS. Let's see what happens here. 4/10, 3/10, 2/10. He's going to be a couple car lengths shy of overtaking Joe Biodome, who looks to be struggling on the tires, had a couple lockups, has hit some oversteer coming out of turn 4. They're going to go into that long double right-hander. And it's going to come in closer, coming into turn 8 and 9. Ruin and Rogue has sped in the pit lane. Oh, and he's right on his gearbox. He's going to take it into second gear, try to get a little bit of better acceleration. He's 4/10 off him still. Stampy Boss and Run and Rogue still battling it out. And it looks like Rune and Rogue's night will be over as he will retire in the pit lane, so that 10-second penalty doesn't affect him none. Stampy Boss, same story as before, stays in DRS range but is not close enough. These corners coming up are crucial. He has to get better entrances and exits from Joe Biodome to have a prayer to stay close to him. He's 5/10 off. He's a half second off. He's going to try again. He gets it within 3/10, but it's the same story as last week. Furzy looks like has lost a couple of spots here to Mr. Bean and Rimsey. Rimsey is on the charge again for Mr. Bean. And Mr. Bean is going to try to get closer to the new full-time driver, Gibby. Mr. Bean definitely has a tire advantage now amongst the front runners. He's going to be the fastest on this top half of the grid here. Comes down into turn 10. He's catching him at quite an impressive clip. DRS activation zone is coming up, and it's looking like he's going to be right on the fringe. Is he going to get a better exit? I don't think so. I don't think he's going to have DRS coming into the start-finish straight, but that may change as they exit turn 3. Back to our boy Stampy Boss here, battling for the lead. He will stay 3/10. That's been the gap consistent, but it looks like he's getting a better exit and entrance from Joe Biodome. He's 3/10 off. He's gonna be looks like he's gonna be closer. I think this is gonna be his best shot. He is within a car length, but he doesn't get it. He'll rocket down into entering into turn 6 and 7 on Joe Biodome, keeping that gap close, keeping that gap tidy. Great battle with these two gentlemen. 3/10 is the gap. These crucials are going to be crucial corners to try to set him up for a pass on the next two straights coming up. A little bit of understeer from Joe Biodome. He went wide a little bit. 3/10 is the gap. They're going to come into turn, whatever turn that is, turn 12, and he's has a full course battery. He's going to get DRS. He's half 10th off, so Joe Biodome got a better exit on that turn 13. So he's going to only make the gap closer, but he's not going to pass him. But gets a better entrance into turns 1, 2, and 3. And still 5/10 is not going to do it. Let's take a look at Mr. Bean, last week's race winner. He's actually close to Gibby. He's going to hit the DRS. He's going to hit the battery. He's drained his battery. He's going to go for the inside move. Takes a look. Doesn't get it. He's going to now come down into, now he's going to approach into turn 6 and 7. Be very patient. Charge up that battery. In this middle sector here, great place to charge up the battery. Set yourself up for success on the next DRS straight. As we see in the distance, Stampy Boss and Joe Biodome are now battling once again. Coming into turn 10, see if he can get a better exit, make up some ground. Tidy by both of them, but they are right on each other's gearbox. 2/10 is the gap now. He has a little bit of slipstream and dirty air combined. Comes into turn 12, and he's going to have a good opportunity here. He's got a full battery once again, but Joe Biodome also has great battery life, has a great exit. He's not going to be able to get him. Gibby now we're going to hop on board with, and he's going to try to overtake Gibby. That was Mr. Bean, and he does! Gets him on the start-finish straight in those hard tires, which are faster, as Gibby approaches his pit window. And Gibby's going to try to keep up with him. He will get DRS going into turn 4. But it will be no use as Mr. Bean makes a very brave charge towards the front of the pack. It is lap 12. We will start entering into that pit window. We will start seeing these one-stop runners pit. And it looks like everyone's going to be doing a one-stop pending any safety cars or any race incidents. Which brings me to Stampy Boss. It's lap 12. He's 4/10. He hasn't been able to pass Joe Biodome on track. Can he pit for an overtake? Is it too early to do so? It would be a fresh set of hards will give him quite the tire advantage. We have a yellow flag. It looks like it is Morris having a little bit of trouble. 6/10 is not going to be anywhere near passing for Stampy Boss on Joe Biodome. But as you can tell, as you can see, we're looking at Joe Biodome, so it's easier to tell, but you can tell Joe Biodome is starting to have trouble with those mediums, it being lap 13. We'll see who blinks first when it comes to pit stops. Let's make our way down the grid. Let's actually stay here because Stampy Boss just had a better exit out of that turn 4 on Joe Biodome as they head into turn 6 and 7. And a little bit of understeer. Once again, Joe Biodome having some understeer issues coming out of turn 8 as they head into turn 10. Stampy Boss gets it really close. He's right on his gearbox as they head into as they head towards turn 12. Let's see how this goes. He gets a good exit off it. He's 3/10, but he gets a snap of oversteer, loses a little bit of time, loses about a tenth, and he's not going to be able to pass him. Let's see if anyone thinks of pitting here. Neither one of them do. And behind Stampy Boss is Mr. Bean. It looks like we have a 3-car battle on our hands. Mr. Bean looking to make a charge up the championship standings and overtake Furzy for first place. Furzy, who has actually fallen down to P11, definitely losing a lot of that championship position, as we have our first pit runner is going to be Rimsey. He's going for that undercut we talked about. Oh, coming into turn 6 and 7 on lap 14 here, but Joe Biodome, Stampy Boss, and Mr. Bean. You can tell Mr. Bean's on those stronger tires. He's getting better exits than the two runners in front of him. Lap 14, let's see if one of the two drivers in front of him pits. Maybe both of them will. And I'm sure Stampy Boss, who is charging his battery right now, looks like he's gonna maybe dive into the pits. No, it doesn't look like it. He might. He's going to. We now have Stampy Boss going for the undercut. We'll hop back on board with Mr. Bean, who is battling Joe Biodome now, who locked up into turn 1. Ooh, and then that might have been track limit warning for Joe Biodome as he took turn 2 very wide, cut the corner, and Mr. Bean is now our new race leader as he overtakes Joe Biodome. Handiwork in the DRS straight after Stampy Boss pits, and we have a new leader here in the Brazilian Grand Prix, as he now takes off into the distance on Joe Biodome. 6/10 already the gap. Joe Biodome definitely going to be thinking of pitting here on lap 15 after Stampy Boss already did. Interesting to see where he comes out. We'll keep you updated there. Here in Brazil. This is going to be a big game of how long can Mr. Bean make those hards last. Can he create more of a gap from the runners behind him who have not pitted and the ones that have, because it does take a second for those mediums to heat up. We have Joe Biodome pitting. Let's hop on to Stampy Boss, see if he made up any time in that undercut as he works through the field. He's coming down into the start-finish straight. Joe Biodome's editing the pit lane, and the undercut. Is it successful? It is. Joe Biodome exits behind Stampy Boss. The gap is 8/10. The undercut was powerful. The undercut did work, and Joe Biodome now comes out P9 behind Justin K, who has not pitted yet. He did also start on the hards. He will overtake him on the fresher hards, and now will be on the charge for Stampy Boss, who is separated by the McLaren of Nico John. Front runners who have yet to pit, we have Gibby and Mr. Bean. Mr. Bean still on the 15-lap-old hards. His pit window, believe it or not, is also now opening up in a few laps here. 19 to 25 is where you're going to see that lap from that pit window from Mr. Bean. Joe Biodome overtakes Nico John. Ghost Viper is next, but not far ahead of him is Stampy Boss. Been a brilliant battle between these two. The undercut worked, but now Joe Biodome is on the fresher sauce, but he is getting held up by traffic as... Oh! A little bit of a touch and a little bit of a slide by the Williams of Ghost Viper and Tim Gra. And now Tim Gra gets into Joe Biodome, and he's going to pass him. He won't fight him. He's on fresher rubber. He's faster. And same thing with Ghost Viper. He will let Joe Biodome pass. But that was a little naughty. You might be seeing an incident ticket submitted between the RB and the Williams. And Tim Gra actually went off track, passed by Rimsey and Nico John. Rimsey did pit much earlier. He was the first of the front runners to pit. So Joe Biodome held up by the slower cars, now 1.3 behind Stampy Boss, as Gibby has now pitted for the hards. He was the last of the front-running medium runners to pit, banking on a safety car there, which almost happened based on how I saw the racing going on there. 1.4 seconds of the gap out there. Gourd Sauce now in second place. He is also starting on the hards. Looks like he's having a handy race. Oh. Bit of a battle brewing here. Now we looked at the undercut strategies between the medium runners. Now we have three hard runners here between Ghost Viper, Nico John, and Justin K. 17-lap-old hards. The ideal lap to pit off the hards is lap 22. You can do it as early as lap 19 and then try to have the mediums go the distance from there. Expected tire life on those mediums is 17 laps. Who's going to blink first amongst this trio? We saw how the undercut worked for Joe Biodome, how it worked for Stamp Boss, excuse me. And as Joe Biodome now is catching up with him. Let's hop on board with Stampy Boss, who is now battling Gortsauce, who is on 17 lap hold hards, and he's fighting him, and he will break first as Stampy Boss will overtake him. Better tires, later braking point, more confidence in the tires, makes an overtake between those two. Makes it pretty doubtful that any serious battle could happen between Gortsauce and Stampy Boss. Now, 14 seconds is the gap between Stampy Boss and Mr. Bean. A safety car would help Mr. Bean out immensely. You lose about 20 seconds here under normal racing conditions when you pit. Safety car comes out, the delta goes down. Mr. Bean would come out in the same neighborhood on fresh mediums as Stampy Boss. So if a safety car were to come out, that would fall into Mr. Bean's favor. And definitely with Furzy down in P11, get him that championship lead. What else do we got here? Joe Biodome now battling Gortsauce, who still hasn't pit yet. And he doesn't intend to. He keeps fooling me with that, but Joe Biodome now will overtake Gortsauce as he heads into turn 1, and now no one stands between him and Stampy Boss as this battle for what could be the race lead, pending any incidents, could be. Brilliant battle between the Haas and the Red Bull. Furzy just put down the fastest lap. He pitted onto the hards. 4 lap old hards. Gibby, who started P4 as the full-time driver, is now battling Nico John. Nico John and Ghost Viper both haven't pitted yet, so they're not really racing him. Let's see how much of a fight they put up as they're in their pit window, as they start thinking about going on to the mediums. If they can make the hards hang on for a while, later is better, because you will have faster mediums at the latter stages of the race. As they exit, a brief snap of oversteer by Gibby coming out of turn 10 as they head towards turn 12. He will have DRS on Nico John. Nico John probably not fighting too much as he is saving that battery, and he will pass him with flying colors as Gibby comes back up into comes back into P7. Ghost Viper next up ahead. 9/10 off, as he will be in DRS range for coming out of turn 3. And we have our first hard runners pitting in Nico John and Justin K, as Gibby will overtake Ghost Viper. Joe Biodome and Stampy Boss, that gap is starting to get closer. The distance between Mr. Bean and Stampy Boss, 9 seconds. This is where Mr. Bean's got to kind of realize, hey, I don't have the pace anymore on these hards. Safety car's not coming out. He will probably pit within the next couple laps. When he does, he will come out P5 behind Rimsey, Joe Biodome, and Stampy Boss, which will be interesting because he's going to have a faster tire. And Mr. Bean is indeed pitting. So we'll see how that plays out. We have a new race leader, Stampy Boss, who missed pole. I believe he missed pole behind Joe Biodome, but overtook him on track. That undercut worked splendidly for him. And now we are into a battle coming into the final stages of the race. Mr. Bean comes out P5, as I said he would, has Gortsauce ahead of him, who still needs to pit. So we'll have a net P4 as we have the yellow flags coming out. Tar Heels looks like at a moment. But that won't draw a safety car. Oh, 22 laps in. 15 to go, including this one here at the PRL Brazilian Grand Prix. It's going to be a battle for P1 and P2 as Joe Biodome now enters into DRS range on Stampy Boss. Gortsas looks like will pit. And I'm sure Tar Heels will be far behind him. As we enter into lap 23, DRS is open for Joe Biodome. Let's see how that works. And it doesn't. Pretty much the same story here for our P2 runner. It is extremely hard to pass on this track when you have drivers that are at the skill level that these are. Rimsey, P3, he locks down the final podium position, but Mr. Bean behind him is on fresher rubber. DRS is open for Joe Biodome. He's not close enough to get it there. He's going to enter into that braking zone with not enough room left, but let's see how this series of corners. You get these series of corners wrong, and we have a back marker, it looks like. You get these series of corners wrong, you will lose time. That is crucial. Those tenths are crucial because it's just being able to pass someone on the DRS straight and not, as the back marker gets out of the way, doesn't draw any issues for the 1 and 2 runners as they head into turn 6. Mr. Bean cutting that gap down to 9 seconds on Rimsey on the fresh mediums. A beautiful, consistent race here by the Haas and Red Bull. A half second is the gap between Joe Biodome. He's going to hit the DRS again, but once again, not close enough. Let's see how they get on with these next series of corners. Pretty decently. Kiss that inside. Kiss the inside of turn 3. Come onto the DRS straight. 4 tenths the gap. 4 tenths hasn't been shown to be enough, or is it? As Stampy Boss tries to break the ERS, and Joe Biodome and Stampy Boss are going to be able to battling. They touch a little bit, and Stampy Boss holds his position as they head down to turn 6. Stampy Boss went to the dirty side of the track to break ERS, but that gave Joe Biodome much better of a racing line as he entered into turn 4. You want to break the slipstream as much as you can, but it does compromise your racing line, and when it's 5 tenths is the gap, it may be easier to give you the ideal line. Stampy Boss was able to hold on to that lead after a little brief contact. Incidental, nothing, no bad juju there between them. And now the gap has now been pushed down to 6 tenths as they settle themselves for another lunge into the start-finish straight with only 11 laps left once we cross the start-finish line. 4 tenths is the gap as Stampy Boss will be saving some battery in that braking zone. He's keeping it on medium. And Joe Biodome is switched to none as they come down into the DRS straight to give himself a little more battery. Let's see how it goes. And Joe Biodome was unsuccessful on the first try. He's going to be successful on the second try, and he overtakes Stampy Boss to be the leader of the PRL Brazilian Grand Prix. The undercut worked for Stampy Boss, but the fresher rubber worked for Joe Biodome as he retakes the race lead in a brilliant battle between the two drivers. Mr. Bean overtakes Rimsey for P3. Get back to the intervals here to see how we're doing. The fastest lap also has been set by Rusty Oil Can, speeding in the pit lane. I wonder if he's going to retire. Update you on the fastest lap. If you're in the top 10, you do get 2 points. I don't know why that's... There we go. Mr. Bean does hold on to that fastest lap. Usually, the people who start on hards... Uh-oh. Do we have a driver off? Oh, I thought... I got nervous because I saw Ferrari stopped behind in front of a Sauber. I thought it was Rimsey and Mr. And Gibby. That wasn't the case. There was a couple of back markers there. But as I was saying, to get the fastest lap, it is more likely if you start on the hards and switch to the mediums to get that fastest lap, because you do have less fuel. Less fuel makes your car lighter. A lighter car makes you faster, and you're on faster tires when your car is that light. And that gives Gibby the fastest lap. Oh, well. Oh, a little bit of a spin by Stampy Boss as he's trying to relinquish that lead, but he is losing time. 7/10 is the gap now between 1 and 2 in the standings. That's the biggest gap we've seen here in a while. And Stampy Boss now has Mr. Bean to worry about, who is on the medium runners. Who's on the medium tires, rather. Burzy making up a lot of positions here. He's now in P6 as he's having a decent stint on the hards. He's closing in on Gibby. Stampy Boss comes into turns 1 and 2. He's right on the gearbox. He's back down 3/10 behind Joe Biodome, who seemed to have been struggling through those first 2 turns. We're going to open up the DRS and do this all over again as Stampy Boss comes in on Joe Biodome, gets close but not close enough, half of a car length. What separated them coming out of turn 4 into turn 5. Stampy Boss really burning a lot of battery to get close to Joe Biodome, and he's going to be charging up again to make another lunge at him in the start-finish straight. A brilliant battle here brewing between the Haas and the Red Bull. Equal performance are the cars, equal performance are the drivers, because they have exchanged blows, and it's been a heavyweight battle here. Coming to the start-finish straight, 5/10 is the gap. That hasn't been shown to be enough. Let's see if it is this time, and it's not going to be. Joe Biodome taking that turn nice and wide, nice and tidy. Stampy Boss can get close, but not close enough, as he will be close. He's actually pretty close. He's going to have DRS here. He doesn't have enough battery, but let's see how close he can get it. And not close at all, as he's going to have to recharge that battery. He did make up quite a bit of that gap. Rimsey has pitted. He was on the hards earlier, and it looks like he's going to be on the hards again as he does a 2-stop strategy. Wonder what happened there. I wonder if he was the Ferrari that threw the yellow flag. I don't think he was. Back onto the matter at hand. It's Gibby and Stampy Boss. And Joe Biodome, Stampy Boss. Stampy Boss has enough battery. Will he have it for both DRS straights as he now hits it? And he'll hit the DRS as he comes down onto Joe Biodome. 5/10 is the gap once again. It's been consistent. The lap times have been consistent between these two. The gaps have stayed the same. He's going to let off. He's going to charge that battery. He's going to focus on the corners here and try to make another pass at the second DRS zone. We have a car off. Who is it? It's one of the Ferraris, and it looks like it is Iwatuudu, the Belgian, making his debut here as a reserve. Has not had the race that he is looking to have. Joe Biodome and Stampy Boss have that consistent 2/10 gap. It becomes a strategy game when it comes to ERS. Every lap, they have been battling it out on the DRS straights. As a driver, you're thinking 6 laps left. I'm running out of time. I'm running out of tire wear. What's the move? Do I wait a couple laps and give myself a much stronger battery to make a full charge, assisted with the slipstream and the DRS? Or do I keep it going at it now? That gap, 7/10 now, bigger than it's been before. He's going to hit the battery. He's going to hit the DRS. It's not going to be enough. Joe Biodome running away with the lead here. Tim Groth 3-second penalty, which will actually be quite costly, as he is 3 seconds behind him, puts him around P11. Still get points in this league in P11, but you will lose about 4 points between 8th and 11th. It actually might be a little more than that. Back to the matter at hand. Stampy Boss making that gap a lot closer. He is using a lot of that battery. He's going to charge it up in this next series of corners. Get these corners precisely, you can make up quite a bit of time. The only issue is you have Joe Biden, who has shown a skilled masterclass drive here this afternoon as they come in and to turn 13 into 14. 4/10 is the gap. We have some battery. We have DRS. Let's see what happens this time around. Not going to be enough. Not enough battery. Not enough of a gap. But we do have another back marker coming up, which could make things interesting as he does make up a lot of ground into turn 1, into turn 2. 4/10 is the gap. We have DRS again. Will it be enough? Here comes Stampy Boss. And Joe Biden still has more battery, so he doesn't make up that much ground on him. And he also probably had DRS from the back marker. Hard to tell. That back marker of J Story 17 is obliged to get out of the way. He is ghosted, but rules are in the PRL. You want to treat a ghosted car like a real life car. I guess that wasn't the case for the Red Bull here of Joe Biden. Stampy Boss keeping it close once again, charging up the battery once again. 5 laps left, including this one. Can he make a run? Can he make any risky moves coming up? He does break a little later. He does cut that gap down. He is 4/10 behind Joe Biden. Joe Biden takes off. Stampy close behind. He will hit the DRS. He will hit the ERS. Will it be close enough? It is getting close. It is getting close. Not going to be doing here as they enter into turn 1. Both hit that corner very nicely. Same with Joe Biden and Stampy Boss. They get into turn 3. They get another DRS straight. They get some battery. Does he have enough? I don't think so. I don't know, Jim. He doesn't. Joe Biden playing the ERS management game. Lovely. But Stampy Boss did make up some ground there as they head into turn 6 and 7. Joe Biden is pulling away a little bit. That gap is marginal, and a marginal gap means you can make as minimal mistakes as possible. One snap of oversteer, one lockup, that could be your race lead gone for Joe Biden, or your chance of a race lead gone for Stampy Boss. It is getting close now. Coming into the final turn, they are close, but it's been the consistent uniform 5/10. The consistency between these two drivers is amazing. We have a back marker coming up. Is that going to be enough to give Joe Biden DRS? It is not. So Stampy Boss is now 2/10 behind him. He's going to hit the ERS. He's going to hit the DRS. He's coming on the inside. It's going to be exciting. Does he make the move? He will! Oh, Joe Biden goes wide. He's hanging on and he passes it back again as they head into turn 7. Joe Biden reclaims P1 as they head into turn 6 and 7. And Joe Biden pushed wide, but that gets you a better exit. Coming out of turn 4, he used that acceleration, retook the lead. Brilliant driving by both drivers. I wonder, I didn't have a good view on it, I apologize, but I wonder if there was enough room left. When you are alongside, you are obliged to give a car's length of space. Joe Biden did get pushed off. He did reclaim his space. I wonder if Stampy Boss coasted, let him retake it, and gave another whack at him at the start-finish straight, which he's going to do now. 2/10 is close enough. He comes on the inside of him. He passes him. He enters into turn 1. He still has DRS. And that is a brilliant pass as Stampy Boss takes the lead once again in the PRL Brazilian Grand Prix. Joe Biden looking to recoup that. He has a lot of battery left. He will reclaim DRS as he takes the slipstream from Stampy Boss, and he retakes him again. 3 times in the last 2 laps, we've had a new race leader here this afternoon. Brilliant, exciting stuff. Brilliant and exciting stuff. Joe Biden has been sharp as a tack. He has defended with all of his might in these closing 2 laps. 2 laps left. Time to make riskier moves. They have. And they have reaped the benefits. Definitely. Mr. Bean, P3. Brilliant strategy, brilliant driving from him. He started a little back. He started back in the midfield, and starting on those hard tires has done him wonders. He is 4 seconds behind from our race leaders. I am curious. 2 laps won't be enough time for them to catch them. However, in this last lap of the Brazilian Grand Prix, as the last lap has commenced, I wonder if they get tangled up, Mr. Bean can make up a bit of ground. Very unlikely. 5 seconds is a lot. Stampy Boss is now 3/10. This is going to be the second to last DRS straight of the race. He takes a look on the inside. He doesn't. He tries to go on the outside. He gets pushed off wide. No room was left for him. I wonder, once again, is that going to be an incident that the stewards are going to have to answer for? 6/10 now is the gap. He lost a bunch of time there. And Joe Biodome, for now, is the race leader. And his odds of winning this Grand Prix have gone up immensely. As we come out of turn 11, Joe Biodome, 5/10 up on Stampy Boss. Stampy Boss still too far back. And he had a disappointing result in the Netherlands. He has a great result now. He fought hard. He fought brilliantly. He defended brilliantly. And the first place finish for Joe Biodome has been fought for hard, and Joe Biodome wins the Brazilian Grand Prix. Stampy Boss 5/10 behind him. A brilliant battle between the top 2 races. Mr. Bean locks down the last spot on the podium. Gibby makes his Sauber debut. He finishes P4. Rimsey, great drive from him. He's P5. Furzy, P6. He drops down a few places from qualifying. Gordsauce, P7. Tim Graw, he does have a penalty. It is a 3-second penalty. I don't believe he got anything additional. Yeah, Tim Graw drops down to P11. That's a costly penalty for him. They were right on his gearbox behind him. Justin K and Morris, it's a battle on track, but Morris got hit with a 13-second penalty, track limits, and a speeding in the pit lane. And that'll do it for us. A brilliant battle at the top here in Brazil. A brilliant fight between Stampy Boss and Joe Biodome. Joe Biodome comes from the win. The standings are quite shooken up. We most likely have a new standings leader. I haven't checked where our race winner stands in the standings. 76th place. He's in P6. He will make up places on Adrike. He will make up places on. I think Bazurga is. Yeah, Bazurga is Stampy Boss. So the gap will. So Joe Biodome will move up to P5, I believe. Doesn't get enough points on Stampy Boss, who finished in second, to get P4 in the standings. Mr. Bean indeed will cut down that championship lead on Furzy quite a bit. Same thing with Gibby. But brilliant racing by everybody. Brilliant race by all. I'm Corey Anayat, Uno Cinco from New Hampshire. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of the PRL Brazilian Grand Prix.